we are going to move on to the ACC conference. So Chase, give me your ACC predictions.
Absolutely. I'm going to start with Florida State, right? I love Jordan Travis. I even looked it up before. I can't think of that very tall wide receiver that he's going to throw to all year, what his name is. But I think Florida State's in this game, right? The ACC is kind of a weaker division this year. Drake May is amazing at UNC, but I don't think his team's very good at all. And then I have them playing Clemson, right? I think this is the year Dabo Swinney bounces back. He's a heck of a coach. He's been in the championship game more than anyone but more than anyone but Alabama's Nick Saban, right? He knows how to win, and he's finally got the quarterback. Last year, DJ Uiagalelei did not perform very well, moved to Oregon State. They brought in Cade Klubernick, and I think he is a baller. I think Clemson wins the ACC.
Listen, I've got that exact same prediction. I've got Clemson and Florida State in the championship. I think those are the two best teams in the conference, in a very, very, very weak conference of the ACC. And I got Clemson winning that game. The Clemson schedule is just so easy when you look at it. I just think they're better than Florida State, and they've owned Florida State. Like, Florida State has not been able to hold a candle to Clemson at all. And so I don't foresee that changing here. I like Clemson a lot in the ACC. When you look at the Clemson schedule, right, the only, as of right now, ranked teams that they play is Florida State, Notre Dame, and North Carolina. North Carolina is not going to be really competitive this year, I don't think, even though, like you said, Drake May. I think Notre Dame could be good this year. I think they got better on defense, and I love the addition of Sam Hartman coming over from Wake Forest. They were really a quarterback away last year to do some dangerous things, and they got Sam Hartman leading the ACC, who is the conference record holder for the most touchdowns thrown in the conference. So dude can throw, dude can ball. So I think Notre Dame could be a problem. So I think going into record, I think Clemson loses one game all season, and I think it's going to be that Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame can come in and upset them, but it's not going to be enough to keep them obviously out of the ACC championship. And I think they win against Florida State, because Florida State's going to have to go. Obviously, they start the season off with LSU. I think LSU is the better team than Florida State. So if they lose that game, they're already going to be behind the eight ball. It's going to be tough to come out of that when they lose that first game, because then they have to go to Clemson. Other than that, their schedule is pretty easy. They do have that game against Florida, right? The in-state rivals that always play hard. Not really big on Florida at all this year, but we'll see if they're kind of turn things around. But it's just going to be tough whenever the first 4 games of your season you have LSU and Clemson in there, right? You might be able to play your way out of it, based on how you end the season, kind of like they did last year. They had the tougher opponents in the beginning when they lost, and they finished on like a 6-game win streak when they played very crappy opponents. The schedule is set up for them to do that again. And so maybe, it's easier to forget earlier losses than, losses early in the season than late in the season. So something else could happen, but either way, I'm referring to obviously the 4-team playoff to see if they're able to get in. I see a lot of people thinking they can make it, but obviously if they're going to lose the championship game, they can't make it. I just don't think they will. I think they're going to have too much to overcome in Clemson. And I love Jordan Travis. I like the Noles. I don't have anything against them, but I just think they're getting hyped up way too much. And I don't see them getting the best of Clemson.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you. Right, everything you said I agree with, except for Notre Dame. I think I'm always a little down on Notre Dame. I don't know what it is, but I never think Notre Dame's going to do very good. But I'm happy for them to prove me wrong. They have some of the coolest uniforms in the game when they do alternates. So, and their coach, I love their new coach there. But yeah, Florida. The only other game is you mentioned it, the Florida game. Florida's not very good. Florida State's definitely the better team, except Florida State almost never beats Florida. Even when Jameis Winston had his Heisman year, Florida almost upset Florida State. And Florida was not good then. So it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just never, it's always a matchup, and it happens to be always leaning towards Florida's hand. So that's one to keep an eye on too at the very last game there. Rivalry week.
Yeah, and it's at Gainesville too, so it's going to be a home game for Florida. So
and the swamp.
In the swamp. So yeah, always a fun game to watch. So yeah, definitely Yeah. So like I said, yeah, I got Clemson. So we got that one together.
Perfect.
So cool.